Good afternoon, and welcome to the Revere City Council meeting of November 18, 2019. Will the members of the audience please join the Revere City Council in a salute to our flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call of the members. Councilor Janino? Here. Here. Councilor Keefe?
Here.
Here. Councilor McKenna?
Here.
Here. Councilor Morabito?
Here.
Here. Councilor Novoselsky?
Here.
Here. Councilor Patch?
Here.
Here. Councilor Powers?
Here.
Here. Councilor Rizzo?
Here.
Here. Councilor Rotundo? Here. Councilor Zambuto?
Here.
Here. And Council President Guinasso?
Here.
Here. Quorum is present.
Madam Clerk, prior to this evening's meeting, I would just like to offer out our prayers and good wishes to our dear friend Rick Promise, who is in the hospital. Hopefully he'll recover quickly and back to action with the City Council. We just want to send the best wishes to our good friend Rick Promise. We send our prayers. Thank you. Councilor Rizzo has asked for a moment of personal privilege. Councilor Rizzo.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. And hopefully you allow me, and the members of the council will allow me just a couple of minutes. First off, I'd like to offer my congratulations to all of you who were elected and re-elected. I'd also like to congratulate candidates that ran for office that were unsuccessful, but certainly put their hearts and souls into it, and all for the benefit of our community. So I congratulate them and all of you on your elections. I'd also like to thank the voters of Revere for giving me so many years here in the City Council, whether in my capacity as a councilor or a mayor. I've spent 18 of the last 20 years here in this chamber, and as I look over at Ashley and Joanne, you guys have been here for a large part of that as well, and made my experience up here really, really good most of the time. It's been a pleasure. I've had the chance to work with so many great colleagues over the years that have come and gone, some sadly no longer with us, some just moved on. But, you know, I know that my years here that I've spent have been here just to make Revere a place that we can all be proud of, and make sure that each and every neighborhood was adequately represented. And I just want people to know that I've worked as hard as I can to make that happen. I'd also like to, as I said before, thank the voters who have elected me and re-elected me many times. And while this last election was not successful, there were still many, many people who left their homes on the day of November 5th to cast a vote for me, that had their confidence placed in me and my abilities to help guide this city. I really want to thank them. And I want to thank so many of them, like I said, that have cast their votes for me before. I also, when I walked in here, I saw many familiar faces, and maybe I made the mistake of saying that I was going to just say a few words prior to this meeting, but I want to thank, virtually as I look around, each and every single one of them that just did so much for so many months to get our message out. And I want to, as I look at all of you, you have nothing to be ashamed of whatsoever. We all worked hard. We all had a positive message of what we saw in Revere, and there were two very contrasting messages. And, you know, for those who believe in our message of maintaining the character of our neighborhoods and, you know, wanting the best for all of us, and not to say that everybody who came out and voted that day doesn't. There's just differing opinions. But you should all be very, very proud of yourself and the effort that you put forward. You all did an amazing job. And as I say, if I had a choice of a different outcome, but had to do it with a different committee, I would choose the path that was chosen and that was played out on November 5th. You guys are all amazing. I wouldn't change a thing to have a different outcome, as I say, without having you by my side. And that goes for people that aren't here now. We literally had hundreds of volunteers that came forward just because, again, they believed in the cause. And it was really an amazing experience. And while your natural inclination might be, and again, this is also to the candidates that were unsuccessful, not just for myself, but to candidates who ran for office and maybe weren't successful, you know, it's not a mandate on who you are or what you believe in or what your abilities are. It's a moment in time. And so I would just ask everybody to stay encouraged. We live in a tremendous city, a great city. I believe in Revere so much that not only have I called it my home for the last close to 3 decades, but you know, it's also a place where my business is as well, and will remain. So again, Mr. President, I'd like to thank you and my colleagues here in the City Council, and appreciate the many years I've had to serve the people of Revere, and I want to thank all of you and all of them once again for giving me this great opportunity. Thank you so much, Mr. President.
Madam Clerk?
Calendar item number 2, approval of the journal of the regular meeting of October 28th, 2019.
So ordered.
Calendar item number 3, unfinished business. Motion presented by Councilor Rotundo that the City Council refer to a public hearing the attached proposed ordinance relative to the regulation of food trucks.
Councilor Rotundo.
Can we place that on committee to go over with the one that is being presented, I believe, by the solicitor?
Yeah, the city solicitor has been working on an ordinance relative to the food trucks for several months. He anticipates that it will be presented sometime in the new year.
Mine is actually already, it's a reflection of what's already in place in Boston.
And you could just join with the city solicitor and give him that, and we can go forward in the new year.
That's fine by me.
Place on file.
Calendar item number 4, motion presented by Councilor Rotundo that the mayor provide the City Council with a list of hearing officers for the various departments within the city. Furthermore, under what framework and what law do they operate?
Councilor Rotundo.
Speaks for itself.
On the motion, all in favor, all opposed? So ordered.
Calendar item number 5, motion presented by Councilor Rotundo that the Revere City Council, under the auspices of the city solicitor, draft an ordinance that will make residency fraud a finable offense of up to $300. Likewise, that the City of Revere rest these powers within the domain of the police department, truant officers, or their designee.
Councilor Rotundo.
I think that's pretty specific.
Okay, this is going to be referred to the school department.
I think committee is fine, let it be debated there, and if they feel that there's a merit for it, then so be it.
Thank you. Refer it to school department.
Calendar item number 6, motion presented by Councilor Rotundo that the City Council award a certificate of appreciation to the King family and children of Rose Street for cleaning up the playground on Rose Street.
Councilor Rotundo.
I think I'll save my words for that night, and I think this speaks for itself.
On the motion, all in favor, all opposed? So ordered.
Next item up is the zoning subcommittee report.
Councilor Zambudo.
Thank you, Mr. President. The zoning subcommittee met this evening. We had 2 items on the agenda. If the clerk can read them, they were both voted out favorably, and I would ask for a roll call vote on each one of them, please.
So the first is an ordinance further amending the zoning map of the City of Revere as follows. Title 17 of the revised ordinances of the City of Revere and the zoning map provided by Section 17.12.020 of said title is hereby amended to change the zoning district designation of property known and numbered as Lot 63 Hawes Street map block and parcel 18-293-12, from residential B to the general business district.
Shall the city council amend the zoning map of the city of Revere as requested by the petitioner? Audit on a second reading. Audit on a third and final reading. Request roll call for engrossment and endangerment.
Councilor Janino?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Keefe?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor McKenna is absent. Councilor Morbido? Yes. Yes. Councilor Novoselsky?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Patch?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Powers?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Rizzo?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Rotundo?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Zambudo?
Yes.
Yes. And Council President Guanasso?
Yes.
Yes, the zoning map change has been engrossed and ordained.
Joanne, would you like to take a vote on that zoning subcommittee report regarding?
Yes.
Please record
Councilor
to
McKenna.
Councilor McKenna is yes.
Very good, thank you. Next item on the zoning subcommittee report was a zoning map amendment request to change the zoning district designation of property known and numbered as lots 830, 831, and 832 Sigourney Street, map block and parcel 28-438M-23A, from residential B to the general business district.
Audit on a second reading. All in favor, opposed? Audit on a third and final reading. Shall the city council amend the zoning map of the city of Revere as requested by the petitioner? Roll call for engrossment and endangerment.
Councilor Janino?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Keefe?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor McKenna?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Morbido?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Novoselsky?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Patch?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Powers?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Rizzo? Yes. Councilor Rotundo? Yes. Councilor Zambudo?
Yes.
Yes. And Council President Guanasso?
Yes.
Yes, the zoning map change has been engrossed and ordained. Next up is the Legislative Affairs Subcommittee report.
Chairman Keefe.
Thank you, Mr. President. We had 3 items on the agenda tonight. We'll take up 19-241 first. That was communication from Frank Ferreira. We satisfied the needs of Mr. Ferreira, and the resolution was to draft a letter and send it to our local delegation for response in regards to inquiries on land taking by the state or the government, and we would ask for an official response from the DCR and our state delegation. So that 19-241 has been resolved.
So we place that on file.
Placed on file, please. 19-230 was the motion presented by Council Rotundo. This was voted unfavorably, more so based on the agenda of the year coming almost to a summation. There was some debate back and forth, but the agreement was that this could be taken up in the new year's legislative affairs. So that was voted out unfavorably.
Point of information.
State your point, Councilor.
I was told by the Elections Commissioner that regardless of my desire or anybody else's, that it rests with the state, and therefore this issue is moot.
Okay. At the request of the council, the maker of the motion, we place this on file.
Thank you. Calendar of 19-242, a motion presented by Council Rotundo. We had the Chief of Police and a letter from Captain Mangino in regards to a request. The request, there may have been some misinformation, and with the satisfaction, actually, if Council Rotundo would like to speak, the request relayed from the Captain Mangino seemed to be suffice. If Council Rotundo would like to speak, but this was voted out unfavorably as well, but I'd like to give Council Rotundo a chance to speak on this.
Well, that's through the chair, and the chair's position has always been that we have subcommittees for that purpose, and that's the purpose only, so we're taking up a vote on this.
Mr. President.
Mr. President, I would...
Councilor Rotundo.
I mean, with all due respect, this is about my kids, and I just spoke to the chief. He says that this is public information, and the issue on the actual paper document that was produced is actual public information. But the other information that was spoken about within here and which was gleaned during that process is not, because it has to do with a crime of violence against kids. Now, unless you're going to write Massachusetts general law over again, I don't know how that works.
Counsel, I'm not sure what you're referring
Please state your name
to. There's
and
one
address.
document you requested
Through the
the public
speaker at the-
information.
Well, that's true, but as I pointed out.
Through the chair, please.
Sorry, Mr. President.
State your name and address for the record, please.
Chief of
Chief
Police
Guido.
James Guido. I'm well-known.
Chief, please respond.
Yes, you are well known.
Counsel, what document are you referring to? The log entry?
The log entry.
That's a
is not
public
the-
record.
It is not in debate. It's the issue in which the person references a date in which only myself, the Revere Police, and the DA should
That's
only know.
not true, Counsel. A person came to the police station, asked for a history on 2 different addresses, and then looked at the history and then asked for specific incident numbers on that list.
Well, guess what?
Those are all public records.
Guess what?
And you checked with the Secretary of State.
I have, and guess what? This was given at the Revere Police Department. The 2 places that he asked for was my apartment over on 675 Beach Street and my old house at 135 Fenno.
Okay.
So he could not have gotten it from those 2 log entries because the log entry that took place was at the Revere Police Department where it was taken up. So that is
The log
incorrect.
entry refers to an address, Counsel.
That's that paper, correct. Don't be switching words here.
I'm not
You
switching
just
anything.
did.
It's documented.
That's right. You said it was from 2 log entries.
No, I
Beach
said
Street,
that
you just said to me
that a
from
list
2
was
log
given
entries.
out of 2 addresses.
No, sir, you said
And
2
then he
log
asked for,
entries.
the person, which was a she, asked for specific to that incident. And that's the log entry that was given
It
out.
was a she. How come you
It's
won't
a
give me?
public record.
Then how come you won't give me the video for that day of
Because
that
we're
log
not
entry?
releasing the video. We're still discussing that.
Oh, that's public information
Because if we
too.
give the video to you, we have to give it to other people.
Well,
And we don't want to jeopardize victims or
For
other
that-
people
for
come to
the
the
hour in which
police
log
station.
entry comes in?
Counsel.
So hold on here. So for when the log
Counsel,
entry comes in, you
You have a right to appeal our
can.
decision to the
Of course.
Secretary of State.
Of course.
The election's over. Let's stop the nonsense.
Stop the nonsense. It
I
was your
don't-
guy,
I
Bob
don't-
Sullivan, who
I
did
don't
it.
appreciate you attacking the police department and acting like there was some plot against you. I would never allow that. Anybody live.
Captain.
At the end of the day, it's,
Chief.
at the end of the day, it's not you that I'm talking about.
Thank you, Mr.
Councilor
President.
Rotundo, the conversation's over.
Thank you.
Mr.
Madam Clerk. Next order. Chairman Keith.
Just due to the request and the information that was provided, it was suffice of this request, so the Legislative Affairs voted in the no on this.
Okay, roll call if you wish, or just yes or no. You wish a roll call?
Roll call, please.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Roll call on the motion. Counselor Janino?
No.
No. Counselor Keith?
No.
No. Counselor McKenna?
Could you read the motion, please?
Motion reads as follows, that the mayor request the state police and/or state auditor to investigate the policy and procedure regarding the release of information from the Revere Police Department, in particular, the release of a domestic event involving my children on October 2nd, 2012, in which officers Soto and Duca were involved. The information was released on September 16th, 2019, in an apparent attempt to discredit me publicly. I demand answer and I demand an investigation from an outside agency. If this can be done to a public official involving my children, that it could be done to any member of the public.
Roll call.
Yes.
Councilor McKenna voting yes. Councilor Morbido?
No.
No. Councilor Novoselsky? Is absent. Councilor Patch?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Powers?
No.
No. Councilor Rizzo?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Rotundo?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Zambudo?
No.
No. Council President Guanasso?
No.
No, the motion fails.
Madam Clerk.
Calendar item number 12, communication from Mary Penny, 90 Campbell Road, North Andover, Mass., requesting that the City Council accept as a donation a certain parcel of land located on Garfield Avenue.
Sorry.
Shall the City Council accept a donation of land described as parcel 49212 Garfield Avenue from Mary Penny, C.O., the estate of Angelo Damaso? Is anyone here? Okay. Roll call has been requested.
Roll call to accept the donation of land, Counselor Janino.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Keefe.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor McKenna.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Morbido.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Novoselsky.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Patch.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Powers.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Rizzo. Yes, Counselor Rotundo.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Zambudo.
Yes.
Yes, and Council President Guanasso.
Yes.
Yes, the land donation has been accepted.
If you ever saw the particular parcel that we're talking about, it's right in the middle of the Garfield School. How in the world the city ever let that go years ago? It's insane. But it's right smack in the middle of the Garfield School. So that's why this poor lady's been paying taxes all these years, and she doesn't wish to be reimbursed for her taxes. She just wants to just get it off the books.
Calendar item
Mr.
number...
President, point of personal privilege.
State your point, Councilor.
Thank you. Earlier, we were talking about the release of public information and why I wanted the Revere Police Department investigated and the way that they do this. Part of it was because Wayne Rose's information, in particular his Social Security and his wife's Social Security, was released by that same department. In fact, they too fall victim to that issue. And they have their documentation right here with them. And so wasn't his mother-in-law. So I want to let you know that they did it to me, they did it to him, and it's not a conspiracy. The documents are there.
You know, the merits of what the conversation was at the subcommittee was that if you wanted to go forward with this, where this is going to be signed down on December 16th, we know it's only
Well,
a
I won't
couple of
take it up
meetings
again,
left.
trust
You
me.
can bring it up again,
But I
and you
know-
can give it the attention it's deserving, but
It doesn't matter at this point because I understand the vote where it lies.
it's not, don't understand anything where it lies. You should have been at the subcommittee if it was that important to you. That's the, this is,
Well,
and
this is
I
pretty
understand
simple
you have
stuff.
to work, and not some of us
This is
don't have
pretty
to
simple
work.
stuff, Arthur. This
Listen,
isn't rocket science.
Mr. President, could I have
Like
a
this-
point of personal privilege on behalf of the police department? First of all, Councilor Rotundo keeps referring to his children. There was no document ever released about his children. He keeps putting his children into there.
Well, hold on here.
And
It's
if-
right
let
here.
me- Counsel, let me finish.
You're a
Then you
liar.
can speak.
You're
Wait a
a
minute,
liar.
wait a minute, wait a minute.
You're a
And
liar.
if Mr. Rose has a
You're a
complaint,
liar.
and we did something wrong,
Here we
he
go.
can bring it to my
Chief, you're a
attention,
liar.
and he can also file a complaint with the
This
Secretary of
is the type
State.
of thing that does not belong before the Revere City Council.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Please, I ask
That
everybody,
doesn't mean it came from the police department.
Chief, please. Please. No, we've already, we only, this doesn't belong before us. Counselor, relax.
Doesn't even know what's going on in his own police department. I called the detective. He doesn't even know what's going on.
If this is a concern that private citizens have, I would think that the proper source would be the courts. You just file a complaint within the local district court, and you could have it all heard there.
The department shouldn't be releasing that information.
That's for them to determine. That's not for us to determine. We're a city council. We don't make those kind of determinations. We're trying to just go by the city's law and order, and we don't make those determinations. Conversation's over. Let's not belabor this, because this can go on forever. If you have a fault with the police department, and you feel
It'll
that
be in
you're-
court, Arthur, trust me.
Just go before the local court and file a complaint.
Wouldn't like if your wife's social security number was released.
I wouldn't either. That's right. So taking it up here doesn't make it, I can't say yes or no.
Arthur.
Madam Clerk.
Calendar item number 13, communication from the Board of Assessors requesting a public hearing for the purpose of establishing the minimum residential factor in order to establish the fiscal year 2020 tax rate.
Order to a public hearing on December 2nd.
Calendar item number 14, communication from the city auditor relative to the Transportation Network Infrastructure Fund appropriation.
Shall the City Council approve the appropriation in the amount of $94,204 from the Transportation Network Infrastructure Fund to the Roadway Capital Fund? And this is like, excuse me, can we conduct the meeting here? I ask you to please, you can take conversation outside. What this does is, this $94,000, if you can believe it, is 10 cents that is given to each ride that's occurred on Uber and Lyft. And this is the amount of money that we get. And it's going to be used for roadway improvement. So that's an unbelievable thing. So I just wanted the councilors that weren't aware of it, that's what it's going to be used for, and that's where the money comes from. So and it doesn't cost the taxpayer anything. We got $94,000. On the motion, all in favor, all opposed? On the communication, accepted. Motions.
Calendar item number 15, motion presented by Councilor Keefe that the mayor request the state delegation and MassDOT to review the feasibility of adding sound barriers along parts of Route 1 abutting Revere neighborhoods. Sound barriers are being included in the Chelsea Curbs project, and due to expanded use and construction, the noise levels have become more of a nuisance to the residents of Revere. It's noted that Councilor Zambudo is recused from this motion.
Council Vice President Keefe.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to amend this and add Councilor Patch to this motion as well. He represents a significant area that's impacted by Route 1. And I'll keep it brief because I know this is going to be discussed further. What kind of drew this up was some residents coming to me from my neighborhood and request of this, seeing that Chelsea, through the Chelsea Curves project, is going to be adding some sound barriers. And there's some frustration where if Chelsea's getting this, why is Revere getting left out? And typically, lower income communities tend to get left out by the state and the federal government. But more importantly, we have state delegation for a reason. I would expect that they would want to stand up for the residents of Ward 4 and Ward 6 that abut majority of Route 1 in Revere. So what I would ask for that support, again, if Chelsea's getting it, I can't understand why Revere wouldn't at least get a piece of it, or some support and some help when it comes to what we have to deal with in Route 1. It seems to be the only thing that we care about is what happens in Saugus, and Route 1 and the areas of Ward 4, Ward 6 are getting untouched and unrepresented.
Council Patch.
Thank you, Mr. President. When I first saw this, when I looked at the motion, I had to kind of like laugh to myself because I think I probably put, in 12 years, I think I put like 3 motions. I might have co-motioned with other councilors, but I know I put one myself, and the answers I got back from the state were like ridiculous. It's not a legal highway, it's not, but this is a good motion because with Chelsea getting something, Councilor Keefe is right, that before they could come up with excuses. But why, and one of the excuses used to be, well, Chelsea don't have them, and Winthrop don't have them, and I still haven't been confirmed yet about, Winthrop as far as the, that's as far as the toll. But Revere's always getting left out. It's always getting left out. It's whether the toll, whether it's sound barriers. I know we put it in once because they had sound barriers up in Linfield, and we couldn't get them because of they're claiming the state that it's not a legal highway. I don't know. But again, we sent letters to the state delegation, and unfortunately, we almost got them once and they took the money away. So good luck to my fellow councilors next year. Hopefully,
Well, I think somewhat it's embarrassing that we go by Wakefield and 128, and you go by all these other cities and towns, they have the barrier. You come to Revere, you have no barrier.
right. And it's just not, there was an incident just the other night. They were doing work up in Route 1. It was so loud, I thought it was the neighbor behind me is vacuum for the pool. It was like, my wife is telling me, nah, it's on the highway. I said, Jesus. I said, honest to God, I've lived there almost 40 years, and I never heard it so loud in 40 years. And plus the dust that, it's really a disgrace all these years that we couldn't get in it. And I'm a couple of streets away. Three or 4 streets away. And, again, where does the money go, the tax money? Let's take care of Revere for a change. And I hope Councilor Keefe, I commend you for starting this, but I had no information about the Chelsea, or I would have put that in. And because I was waiting for an excuse on, and thank God, it'll be my last motion. Thank you.
Well, I hope to get it done with you.
Well, it's only 300-400 yards away from Chelsea, the extension of it, so I can't see why they would turn their heads to it. On the motion, all in favor? Councilor Janino.
Thank you, Mr. President. I thought you forgot me. I just want to commend my colleagues. This is a great motion. And it's funny that Councilor Patch brought that up because I thought it was my dad vacuuming downstairs. That's how loud it was the other night. It sounded like it was in my home. But I live very, very close to the overpass, but not that close that I should be able to hear it the way I do. And from my bedroom window, with the windows closed, it sounds like I'm in a racetrack sometimes. And I was talking to the residents about this on Election Day. Someone pulled me aside and said, you know what, why don't we have these? And it's really not fair. Why don't we? You drive by all the affluent communities off of the Mass Pike and other areas, and they all have them. And you come to Revere, and we have to listen to Jake breaks in the middle of the night. We have to listen to cars and motorcycles racing. And the construction, that it literally sounded like it was in my home. So I commend my colleagues on this, and I hope we can get it accomplished. I think it would be great, and it would impact a lot of Ward 6 and Ward 4, so thank you.
Any other councilors wishing to speak? Seeing and hearing none, on the motion, all in favor, all opposed? So ordered.
Calendar item number 16, motion presented by Councilor Novoselsky that the mayor provide funding in the next budget to install solar-powered flashing crosswalks at all school crosswalks in the interest of public safety.
Councilor Novoselsky.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, over the last 3 or 4 months, we've noticed various crossing locations that have flashing lights, illuminated lights that make drivers more aware of where crosswalks are, where the pedestrians and residents and kids use to cross streets. And unbeknownst to me, I believe we just got $400,000 on grant money for road safety. So I'm going to kind of adjust this a little, if I may, that the mayor utilize the public safety grant of $400,000 to have these crosswalks put in at least at the school locations. So, that's where I'm targeting now. I've already asked for flashing lights on Ocean Ave through DCR, but I understand that these lights cost around, they're solar lights, solar flashing lights. And I believe up in Ward 6, there's one up near Herman Park, near the crossing, the bike path. So I think that's a good indication of what we want. And if we put at least 2 at each school in the city, it would be a start. And if we can do more at the other serious locations, we look into those also. So that's it for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Powers.
Thank you, Mr. President. With the councilor's approval, I'd like to make an amendment to that motion that of the $400,000, approximately $24,000 be used to put in the flashing lights that tell you what your speed is on 1A on the east, on the northbound side, and 1A on the southbound side between Revere Street and Point of Pines. It's $6,000 apiece. We've got $400,000. I'm sure we can dedicate $24,000 of that to put those lights in. I've already talked to Mass Highway with regard, and they're also looking into this. Thank you.
Mr. President, if I may.
Councilor Novoselsky.
With all due respect to Councilor Powers, I would respect that you put in a separate motion on that. I want to keep crosswalks to crosswalks and speed limit signs to speed limit signs. So if you can put a separate motion into that, I'd appreciate that.
It's fine.
Thank
In fact,
you.
I think we've already got a motion in on that, if I remember right.
Councilor Rotundo.
Quite honestly, I'd like to see all that scrapped. And I would like to work with the Department of Transportation, the state, see if we can get some matching funds through Representative DeLeo and put a crossing bridge from the high school area over into the Wonderland or Necco Park area, and see if Necco and Wonderland will create a pathway going across to Wonderland, or at the very least, some type of connection. I think we've had now in the past decade, probably about 3 or 4 children that have been hit by cars. This would be the ability to connect Broadway to the beach. I think that would be a beautiful thing. More importantly, I think the cost, if someone had recalled about 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, it was brought up, would be about $1 million to do it. All these things that you had stated make great sense. I just think that that would actually be a better buy for our buck. And more importantly, it would give the children that are at the high school in the Rumney Marsh the ability to cross the street to get to the eastern part of the city without being hit by a car, without dodging cars, or without worrying about being hit by a car. As you all know, Bell Circle is probably the most dangerous part of the state when it comes to driving, not to mention traversing it as a pedestrian. Do it as you wish.
Any other councilors wishing to speak?
Mr.
Councilor
President, if I
Novoselsky.
may respond to that, I don't have a problem with requesting a crosswalk. We have requested those in the past, but I don't think we should scrap this particular motion. I think it's important for all the schools to have these flashing lights at them, also to assist all the crossing guards that throughout the city. But I would respectfully request to the councilor, if he wants to do that, to put a separate motion in, and because I don't want to lose this $400,000 for what we have between myself and Councilor Powers' requests.
Absolutely.
On the motion, all in favor, all opposed? So ordered.
Calendar item number 17, motion presented by Council President Guanasso, that the mayor request the Traffic Commission to establish 24-hour resident parking on the following streets: Roosevelt, Washington, McKinley, Pierce, Burnham, Lowell, Fry, Bossum, Fairfield, and Martin, for the following reasons. Due to the close proximity of the Paul Revere School, faculty and guests park all day long, limiting parking for residents, and due to the MBTA bus stop at this location, commuters are parking and taking the bus to Boston.
And I can also add to that, there's a new business in the area that operates 18 hours a day. It almost prohibits people from parking in front of their homes with this kind of activity occurring in such a congested area. So we're inundated with these cars that are coming from all over. And I went to the Paul Revere School and I spoke with the principal in reference to, namely, Roosevelt Street. And she said, you know, it's hard for us to do that. And as much as I really appreciate that, when I see people parking all day long, and some of the people stay there 8 hours, and so that encompasses a whole day. So they need some sort of relief, just as they do in the other areas of the city who have resident parking for their residents. This is the first area in Ward 3 that I have recommended for this type of action, and it's based at listening to several complaints. It's based on concern, and it's come to a point where we have no other choice. So I hope that I'm lucky this time with the Traffic Commission. My batting average is not too good there, but I'm hoping that they will understand the need now that the Paul Revere School, and it's not the neighbors' fault that they don't have enough parking. They have to be more creative with the faculty as to what to do with their cars. Maybe they can joint ride or whatever they have to do, that's their problem. I have to worry about the people who live there every day. That's their homes, and we have to protect that. On the motion, yes. Councilor Rizzo.
Just real quickly, I just want to clarify that motion. You're not asking that there's no parking at all for people that live there. You're just asking for resident parking.
Oh, no. That's the whole purpose of having it. So
exactly.
The residents get parked there.
So people can still park there.
In front of their homes.
It's just that people that don't live in that area can't park there, correct? Okay.
Right. And
I just wanted clarification because there were a couple people that I bumped into that were concerned that they were fearful there was going to be no parking at all. But this is going to be...
This is solely residential parking, people who live there.
Which I believe, I'm not sure where it's at, but are we rolling out a citywide program still?
We are doing that, but the citywide program will take effect at midnight. it would not serve a purpose for this particular area because it's daytime that's causing the problem. See, and so,
Okay.
and that goes from midnight to 7 in the morning. That wouldn't serve a purpose for this particular area.
Okay.
It's the Parvia School, it's the 18-hour-a-day business, it's a couple of things, and it's now the ridership. The people don't want to pay the $5 to go down and park at one-lane parking garage. They saw a little advantage that they could take, and they're parking, and they saw no one complaining, and it kept on building up on me, and I asked, do you know who this car is? You know, no, they park, they come, they leave it there all day. Do you know who this car is? So I went out of my way to ask several people in the area if they were cars that belonged to that area, and they said, no, it's people. And then I did see quite an increase at on Revere Street, people getting the bus, waiting for the bus. I know that most of those people down on the left side are all retired. They're not all going to work. So that's
Okay.
when it made a strong awareness that we need some help there. And that's why I put this in.
Thank you very much.
State your name and address for the record, please.
Pat Malchiano, Sagamore Street. Arthur, I brought this to your attention just a month ago because of the people in Roosevelt, and they can't thank you. And I didn't plan on sticking around. I just saw that you brought this motion, and when I told her that it was coming up tonight, she wants to look you up just to thank you because it's really been a problem that Upper Roosevelt Street where the teachers park there, so
All
the
day.
home people can't park in front. So this is the best motion, and you're gonna make an awful lot of people happy on that street. Thank you.
Thank you. On the motion, all in favor, all opposed? So ordered.
Calendar item number 18, motion presented by Councilor McKenna, that the mayor request Massport to upgrade and install additional decibel noise monitors around Beachmont. Planes are flying at a lower altitude, creating more noise and affecting the quality of life for residents.
Councilor McKenna?
Excuse me. I know it's a little pig in me. The FAA just narrowed, about a year and a half ago, they just narrowed the flight path for planes coming in from Logan and to Logan. 6,400 planes in 1 month was registered going over Beachmont. We now have 8 to 10 double gates where planes that are holding 400 to 600 people are flying into Logan. They're flying, we have a 400-foot ceiling. Now they're flying over Beachmont, 200 feet, okay? I'm really concerned about this. I'm really concerned that, God forbid, one of these planes, they don't judge the hill, and, so the noise has increased dramatically. People are having a hard time living their lives there. They can't sleep. They get up at 2 o'clock in the morning because the planes are flying 24/7. I'm just asking for Massport to put some decibel noise monitors so we can test and with the noise that's going on in Beachmont. And I know it's going on all over the city. I know it's going on all over the state. But Beachmont's inundated. We don't have a voice. Winthrop has a voice. East Boston has a voice. Chelsea now has a voice. Medford scored the highest complaints in the state. 3,500 noise complaints. Beachmont, 8 or 12. So we need a voice. We need to help people live their lives every single day to the fullest. Not sleep downstairs because the planes are so loud or put earplugs in their ears. So I'm just asking for this city to stand up to Massport and put some decibel noise monitors around the city just so we can test the noise that's going on in that section of Revere. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Any other councilors wish to speak? Councilor Rotundo.
This is a point that people don't really understand, that you get used to this, you feel beaten down. Think about this. Medford's more affected than Revere by virtue of the commentary. we all know that's laughable. What people don't understand is it has an effect on your life. It has an effect on your health. This has an effect on the rates of cancer in this community, not by way of virtue of the exhaust, but the sound. Lack of sleep, increased inflammation in your body, all these things contribute to your health. These things that we call nuisances have a great effect on your health. And yet you get the people in Medford who have a higher ceiling, I believe it's 1,000 feet over there, as they're coming in at the 5-mile marker. And they're registering 3,000 calls to Massport to our 8. Who do you think is going to get more money for assistance when one of our representatives goes to Massport and said, we want something in return for dissatisfaction? Not the one that gets 8. The old thing, the squeaky wheel gets the oil. So what we need to do is go on a campaign here in the city. And for anybody at any part of the city, you hear a plane, you need to call Massport and complain. Because if you take a look at what Massport does for East Boston and what it does for Chelsea, and then what it does for Revere. Very simple. So at the end of the day, if we're going to be inconvenienced, if we're going to have our health diminished, I want to be paid. And that's what it comes down to. It sounds terrible, but that's what it is. And I think we need to be remunerated for this type of infliction. And more importantly, have programs brought to our community. So that said, I will speak to Councilor McKenna after this, and we need to start a campaign about getting that number out and making those complaints. Thank you.
Mr. President,
Also, Councilor
I'm
McKenna.
sorry. I have the number right here if you want to call. If people are watching, the noise complaint number is 617-561-3333. And every time you call, they register they register the call. So the complaints come in every month. The data is public, and it comes up every month. So you can see how many calls come from Beachmont, how many calls come from Medford, how many calls come from Chelsea. So you can see that. So if you call, if you're woken up, call.
Mr. President?
Councilor Rotundo.
Councilor McKenna, could you repeat that? And could who's ever in the box back there, if it's possible, actually type that number on the screen so that the people at home can see that number, if that's possible?
It's 617-561-3333.
3333.
Well, I think that she's brought it to attention here, and I think that we need to do more than the outreach of the Comcast viewers. We need to get with the local newspapers and ask them to publish this number, because I live in Ward 3, and when the traffic pattern changes, I can't hear the TV at all. It's a very disturbing event. I have a sister-in-law who lives down the Pines, and she complains about it on an hourly basis. So this problem is generated all over our community. It's just like Councilor Rotunda said, we become complacent because we've been dealing with this issue for 35, 40 years. This is new to Medford, so they're up in arms about it. They're more excited about it now. But after years of putting up with this noise, we've become complacent. And unfortunately, we need to readdress this, and we need the public, more importantly, to be part of it. And I think if we ask, we can send a communication, Madam Clerk, to the local newspapers, if they would publish this number, asking their support in this. We're trying to lower noise pollution within our community, and this is the number to reach if you're concerned about. And I know people will call in, because and as soon as the infraction takes place and the annoyance takes place, that's when you should pick up your phone and call, because it is a very disturbing event. Any other councilors wishing to speak? Seeing none. Rocco, you have 3 minutes.
Well, 4. Give me 4.
All right, 4. Go ahead.
All right, thank
Go
you.
ahead. Where are you?
Just give me 4. I have Councilor McKenna through President. I have an answer for your question. I have an answer for Charlie Patch, and I have an answer for Ivan Novoselsky. We had a meeting in front of my house back in the summer. I think it was maybe late June, early July. Department of Transportation came down to see what my problem was. Not talking about floods, not talking about anything. We've gone through that, and I know where I stand with that. As far as noise factor, I mean, Charlie Patch gave it a good shot. But what my problem is, what I've noticed for the past almost year and a half coming up here, we as one unit have to pursue this. It's said over and over and over again, and nothing happens to it. Department of Transportation had made a comment to me that if you choose to live by a highway...
Rocco, this is Massport now. We're dealing with planes, not cars.
Same incident. Massport planes, Massport DOT, it's all relative to the situation boiled down to have the noise factor. What he told me directly, and Ira was there, Charlie Patch was there, I'm sorry, Councilor Patch, Councilor Ivan Novoselsky. If you choose to live by a highway, then you're going to pay the consequences. That was his answer. And if you choose to live by an airport, you pay the consequences as well. So phone numbers, people that are going to make phone calls, it cannot work unless it all starts here. Everybody up here has to be persistent. You have to make phone calls to get the authorities down here to hash it out and end the story there. And I want to take up no more time, but that was my issue with, as far as noise factor goes.
This particular matter, I think it requires people involvement. Numbers count, as Councilor Rotundo alluded to. And if Medford is outdoing us, let's have a contest. Let's see if we can get more complaints out, because we have legitimate concerns. We're feet away from the noise factor. They're hundreds of feet away from the noise factor.
Charlie Patch lives stone's throw from my house. I'm right on the highway.
I don't fault you for that.
But thanks for listening. I appreciate it.
God bless, Rocco. Councilor Patch.
Just, thank you for letting me speak.
You can speak all night
Mr. President,
long, John.
I just want to point that Rocco brought up later. I was going to say something about the noise at the airport, but I don't want to be considered that cranky old man that complains about everything. But it is true. If the wind is the way the wind blows, and if it blows like east, you can hear them taking off. I mean, you can, and it's got much worse over the years. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. On the motion, all in favor, all opposed? So ordered.
Calendar item number 19, motion presented by Councilor McKenna that the mayor request the Police Department Traffic Division to conduct a traffic study prior to April 2020 on the following streets: Jones Road, Dolphin Ave, George Ave, Henry Street, Lovitz Ave, and Endicott Ave.
Councilor McKenna.
Thank you, Mr. President. So in April of 2020, CDM Smith and the city will revamp the sewer system among these streets. So I would like to have some sort of study done before the construction starts, because some of these streets are two-way, and you can't even get down them. One car cannot get down Jones Road. It's just ridiculous. They got parking on both sides, and it's not only Jones Road. It's George Ave. It's Henry Street. It's all these streets that have been neglected for years, and we really need to revamp that section of Beachmont. So I'm just asking if we could have a traffic study, so maybe we can make Jones Road a one-way, no parking on one side. Just fix these streets, because all these streets are broken. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. On the motion, all in favor, all opposed? So ordered. Oops, sorry. State your name and address for the record, please.
Nico Kostopoulos, 111 Mill Street. I wasn't aware, I just asked Joanne to add Mill Street to the motion, so I didn't know if I had to speak on it. Mill Street is a two-way street coming off the Parkway. When they turn off the Parkway onto Mill, and we have someone coming down Mill trying to get on the Parkway, there have been several accidents there, terrible accidents.
Maker of the motion.
Oh,
through
okay,
the chair,
that's
you can
something
add it
different.
to your add Mills to that list.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
On the motion, all in favor, all opposed? So ordered.
Calendar item number 20, motion presented by Councilor Keefe, that the mayor be requested to find a funding source to replace the flagpole at the corner of Suffolk Ave and Ridge Road. Currently, the flag is maintained by the neighbors, and it's in need of updating.
Council Vice President Keefe.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to commend the neighbors of Ridge and Suffolk Ave. Right in that little triangle at the bottom of the street that connects the two, they have actually maintained this flagpole for a number of years. The flag, the painting, etc. Just the people that live in that little area. But this last Veterans Day, in order to put the new flag up, they actually have to take the entire pole out of the ground. You know, it's probably a 15 or 20-foot pole, so it's heavy. It takes a couple people to get the flag on or off. It's not a traditional flagpole. It's really just a pole with the flag on top of it. So I was curious if we were able to come up with some funding, or if through the Veterans Commission we were able to get a more workable flagpole that the neighbors could proudly operate. And I think it would be nice for the city as a whole. Thank you.
In recognition of the good neighbors in the area who are doing this, and they're doing this civic and pride, I think it's a wonderful idea, and I think we can come up with the money. On the motion, all in favor, all opposed?
Thank you.
So ordered. Seeing no further business this evening before the Revere City Council, the Revere City Council will be adjourned until Monday evening, November 25th.